Welcome to the Encore. I'm Ernesto. This is my good friend.
Wes. You were gonna.
You gotta.
Most people, when they introduce someone, they use their name. This is my friend Wes, but
Listen,
I didn't know.
I'm at your house. Your guests come over. I don't introduce you to your guests in your house.
I'm literally at your house. You built this house.
I'm referring to the Rock Church as a whole.
No.
Anyways, welcome to the Encore. We are filming right now in India, not Indiana. India. It's a whole other country. It is about 97 degrees in the dead of winter right now. And we're out here on the India Pack tour. India Pack trip.
That's right.
And we wanted to bring you some conversation live. So
this will be part 1 of 2, yeah?
part 1 of 2.
Yeah, so we're going to talk about a lot of things. This is part 1 of 2. But before we begin, relevant to this India location, I have some questions I've been holding back on you. I haven't asked you.
There are days I absolutely, with friends like these.
Who needs enemies? Here's my question. So we're in India. You lived, let's do a couple things first.
Okay,
you lived here how long?
Angie and I lived here.
In what years and all that?
It's
People
like
don't know
2
this.
years of time, but only 18 months in country.
Okay.
So we had to leave to renew visas and come back. You had to leave for 2 months to reset, then jump back in
And
the
what
country.
years were those? Do you remember?
Oh, stink. Angie's better at this than I am.
Well, it was before your daughter, right?
So Lena's 12 years old.
I know.
She's
I do
12.
the same thing.
She's 12, and she was born. So it was 14 years ago.
That was 14 years ago?
14
Are you
years.
sure?
Dude, listen. She's 12. We were here.
Yeah, came
Yes,
back.
yes.
Lena was born when you were at the Rock.
That's correct.
All right, so hold. 2009?
Sounds right.
Oh my goodness, that went fast. Okay, so you were here. So 2 years of time, 18 months, and you did what? Briefly.
My wife and I started an organization called Clay Cups Ministries here in India, and our goal was to walk with local Indian pastors.
Mm-hmm.
What they asked of me.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll get to that in today's episode.
Understood.
They asked, can you, they said, we do not know how to reach many of our Indian brothers.
Mm-hmm.
Will you come and show us how? So that was my intention.
Great.
Like, how do you evangelize? How do you spread the gospel in your own home?
That was the question.
That's what we came here to.
It's the right
so we had
question.
to come to learn the culture,
Uh-huh.
learn the people, and then begin to help take steps towards gospel outreach.
All right. And you did that for 18 months.
That's correct.
And formed a relationship. And you ended up building a second level on this house.
Yeah, I was going to live here.
And then, but then it didn't last because.
I got arrested
Why?
because we were accused of using violence to proselytize Hindus.
Violence?
Yeah,
They said that? I didn't know that until right now.
I was forcing Hindus to convert under threat of violence.
So they made that up because
Yes.
the ministry was effective.
That's correct. And
And
we
you
were
were-
planning churches. What we're doing right now, the revivals we're doing in
Mm-hmm.
country, we would do those in a village, 3-night revival. And if people came forward to receive salvation, we would send a pastor there to begin meeting with those believers and having a Bible study, which would then become a church.
Yeah.
And we're having some success. We're seeing churches start in different places all around India,
Yeah.
all around this region.
That's incredible, man. It's incredible work. Being here, seeing it, it's incredible. So for people's understanding, India is primarily Hindu, am I correct?
Like 75% Hindu.
What's the religious breakdown of what am I talking about? India. So it's Hindu Hindu,
It's like
Buddhist,
Hindu,
Muslim second?
yeah, Buddhist, Sikh, Zoroastrian, 6 more, Christian.
Thank you. Oh, I need percentages though.
Our guy behind
Okay. It is 79.8% Hinduism, pretty good. Islam is 14%, which is way down. So it's all Hindu. It's 14% Islam, 2% Christianity, 1.7% Sikhism.
Oh, Christianity's above Sikhs now?
Well, again, that's including a lot of Catholic. It's every kind of
everybody.
Christianized.
So that's my numbers are 10 years old.
So 2.3 Christian, 1.7 Sikhism, 0.7 Buddhism.
There you go.
Thank you, Braden. Okay, all that to say. So all right. So you, just to close the loop on why you were here, the the oppression against you, the opposition must have been Hindu
motivated. Hindu extremists. Most Hindus are very kind, welcoming, warm. We'd go to their home. We'd have meals. Right. There's people being people.
Yeah.
But in any culture, you have the extreme edges.
Of
and
course.
That fringe, that fanatic edge, is often violent, is often will not be reasoned with.
Yeah. Okay, so you lived here for 18 months. You have this thing you do. You are full Indian right now. Like there are little things that happen, and my question is going to be: is this deliberate? Like so break down the 3 head moves of the Indian culture and what they mean.
Okay.
And we're going to need you to look at this camera and demonstrate. There are 3 moves, and they mean sort of different things.
So in America, we have 2 head movements. There's a nod. That's an agreement.
Stay on the mic.
It's yes. It's yes. I agree with you. Nod, yes, yes.
Yeah, okay. Mm-hmm. Okay. It also means I agree. Like I understand what you're talking.
I'm with you. Mm-hmm, yeah. Okay.
Okay.
Then you have the shake of the head. No. There's the back and forth. So you're like, no.
Hey man, you coming with us? Nah.
No.
Okay. That's it. Okay.
Now India is the third movement, and the India movement, the third movement, is side to side. So it's like this is like, it's a little head wiggle that way.
Okay. And what does that mean?
That means it's a very nuanced motion.
Mm-hmm.
It means it's hard to translate things.
Can I speculate on what I think it means just by interacting with them? I think it means I comprehend what you're saying. I'm following along. It's an agreement in a way, but it's not an answer. It's like, so if I say, do you want, well, it is an answer though. Hey, do you want some more rice? And they'll kind of like, right? Am I right about that? I don't get the difference, because they say yes.
It's a Swiss Army knife, dude. I hear you, I'm with you, I'm listening, but it's also a movement of peace. Like,
it's always positive.
It's like I am willing to talk to you, I'm willing to hear you, I'm willing to engage with you. So that side to side is it's almost like a nod, we're okay. It's like it's like when you're in a Jeep and another Jeep drives by and you both do this. It's like we're on the same wavelength. That side thing shows that you're cool with me, I'm cool with you.
What are you saying? Mr. Neil Thompson has something. Yes, good, maybe okay, or I understand.
It's used for a lot of things.
Okay. So you're here doing it.
I do it all the time.
Like, does it just happen? We're here. We're not doing it. Like, I have to force the move because I haven't grown up doing it. It's just not a natural. But you do it. Like, do you think in your mind, I'm in India, I'm going to do this now? Or is it just something, like when you're with someone a long time, you just start doing what they do. Is that what's happening, or what's going on here? Because Nesto's doing it. Like, they'll give him food at the table, he'll be like, and then you do it different. You do it like sharp and harsh. You're like, bam. What are you doing? They're like, right? Like,
listen. I am of the belief.
I'm not. It's fine.
No,
I'm curious as to what your. Okay.
So I lived here. It was full enculturation. I am going to become an Indian and remove all culture barriers to engage with the people that live
all things to all men. It's a very biblical idea. Yeah.
William Carey did this when he was here. Livingston in Africa. I believe this because
he did.
There's another missiological model that says, "You be you, let them be them, and never the twain shall meet." I don't like that. So I watched, I absorbed, I asked questions, and I mimicked. If you listen to the way I talk, I use different words talking to Indians. I use incorrect English that is used commonly by my brothers here.
Well, sometimes I'm talking different just so I'm sure they understand, because sometimes they don't
I will say maximum people think this. I would never say that in English.
Maximum people?
That's a word.
Most is
it's
not.
A word we don't use it.
Yeah, okay.
Maximum is a word we're going to use.
That's different.
The word super is a word we use to describe a lot of things. And I'll say that about things. This is a super musician in America. I don't want to say that in America.
Okay, so the question stands. when they give you more rice at the table, or are you thinking, I'm going to do the third move, or is that just happening to you?
It's not a thought. It's completely a default. It's a default setting. When I come in here, it just turns back on.
Well, it's a real pleasure to behold, I got to tell you. It's good. It's good. I mean, they love you. You're revered. It's good. So it's just really something else. I'm like, wow, that was an aggressive. What do they call it something? I would call this a nod.
I don't know what it's called.
Okay.
If your Indians know it, it's so much part of the world. It's not. It's someone asks you a question why you do something as American.
Well, Wikipedia says it's a head bobble. Why do I feel mean saying that? But I guess on Wikipedia. Head bobble.
But Wikipedia is a Western kind of repository of knowledge.
I understand. No matter the silverware, you eat with your hand here.
That's correct.
We're all doing it.
Only when you have to.
When there's no silverware, we're doing it. But you're like, oh, there's some good silverware right there. I'm gonna leave it there. I'm gonna save the dishes. I'm gonna eat with my hand. So you're full India. I just want people to know that you're all in. It's good, man.
To quote the comic book villain Bane. You merely adopted the night. I was born in it. I didn't see a fork in this country till I was a man. Okay, we lived here. We built this house. Mm-hmm. It wasn't until I brought teams back they bought silverware.
I understand.
We never had it, and so for 2 years, mm-hmm. and for trips afterwards when I come back, it was always eating with your hands.
You just immersed completely, yeah.
And the people,
That's good, man.
They said, I asked them why, even when people would go to someone's house that was a higher caste and they have silverware, people would still eat with their hands. And I'm asking why, and they said, well, you with silverware, you lose the flavor. And so I'm like, well, if the Indians eat this way, I'll eat I'm going to eat the way they eat.
Yeah, that's good. Let's go. That's good, man. I admire you and your family for what you've done here. It's impossible to fully grasp it unless you're like we are here with you to see it and feel it and understand it. So we have some things to talk about today, though.
So we are in India, and the question we wanted to ask is a question that your team has been given, but different. It comes from many different angles. And here's the question: should Christians go and do what we're doing?
Yeah.
Should Christians go? We've invested effort, money, mm-hmm. time, mm-hmm. resources of many kinds. Mm-hmm. You've brought staff members here, taken away from their duties at the Rock Church, and you've said, we're going to come to this place and we're going to aggressively proclaim the gospel to a people that are not Christians.
Yeah, primarily Hindus. So, we're seeing them.
The goal is to tell non-Christian people to consider Jesus and turn to him in obedience.
That is the goal.
Follow him.
Yeah.
There are some who would say, should we do this kind of work? And there's different reasons why they say that.
Yep.
Some people say Americans, white people shouldn't do this. There are those who say this kind of stuff.
Yeah.
So we're going to kind of ask the question, should Christians go? So we'll go to the meanest one first.
All right.
There are some who say that the very act of trying to tell someone that their worldview is wrong mm-hmm. is a unbelievably arrogant act. Who are you?
Right. I've heard this.
To tell someone their worldview is wrong.
Yeah.
And why would you bring yours to try to say, come to my team and leave your own?
Yeah.
How would you respond to someone who says something like that to you?
Because I believe to the core of my being, at risk of my life, reputation, friends, the risk of abandoning my family as a father, as a husband, that Jesus is the only way, the truth, and the life, and that in John 14:6, no one comes unto the Father except through Jesus. Acts 4:12 says there is no other name given under heaven, not in the West, not in Israel, not anywhere, no other name given under heaven by which we must be saved. At the name of Jesus, every knee must bow, every tongue must confess that he is Lord. And so from our King, from our Lord, he has said, he commanded to be obedient to the God who gave me breath and life. He said, go into all the world and preach the gospel. Go make disciples, not just tell them this is another thing out there to understand and add to what you have. Go make disciples of all nations, teaching them to observe, Jesus said in Matthew 28, all that I have commanded you. Nobody else, all that Jesus. So it's not just saying, hey, we want to let you know there's Jesus too, and you can add this in. Because many people will. The Hindu culture will add many other, I've been in these places where people will say, that's great, I accept Jesus too. And that's not what we're here saying. That's not what Jesus said to do. He said, you go tell them on the way, the truth, and life, and you teach them to observe what I commanded, which conflicts with they. I believe that is the truth of the world. I believe that that is the God that made the world and everything in it, breathed in the breath of life, and everything else is what Jesus called the wide way that leads to destruction. And I believe as a Christian, we are here to call them back from walking down the wide way to enter the narrow way that leads to life. Jesus said, I am the door. Anyone that comes up another way is a thief and a robber. That's why.
I think the biblical data is the wrong word. The biblical command, the biblical imperative, it's hard to deny it is there. Now, what's crazy is it's not just atheists who say you shouldn't do this.
Oh, no.
There's a movement within, they call them, people are deconstructing their faith, ex-evangelicals.
Yes. Yep.
They bring the same accusation against
I've
believers.
heard it from them, yes, to my face.
Couple things towards that group.
Let me just add one more thing.
Yeah.
So there's the atheist, there's the unbeliever, which I understand. And
let them come.
I have good friends that I love like that have asked me this question. They're not even, they're like, it's kind of weird that you're doing. And there's other people that are in the deconstruction universe. And then there are just Christians, some of which I'm sure are sitting at the Rock Church or Flint City Church that are just like, what are you doing? And they believe Jesus for them, but they're like, why are you doing this? Like, what? We're messing something up. So it's even just within the church minus deconstruction. But
yes, I remember coming home from India for I had to go redo my visa. I had to reset my visa, and I go to an open house for one of my old kids who graduated high school. And one of their teachers said, "I heard you are a missionary in India." I'm like, "Yeah," and with people around, this teacher, public school teacher, came at me guns blazing.
Wow!
How dare you? So that's in the atheist world. How dare you?
Yeah, wow.
Colonializer is a word they might use to crush you.
Right. Wow.
Okay.
That's a shot, man. That's
It
a
was
low
shot.
blow.
Now, among the deconstructionists and evangelicals, a lot of those guys, they will say they're Jesus-only guys. They don't like Paul because Paul's too mean. We're red-letter Christians. You heard this phrase?
Yes. I don't like it.
Well, the hard thing is that Jesus is just as mean as Paul.
Or more at times.
I mean, Jesus...
yeah.
He's not. I heard on a podcast recently, people similar talking like we are, where the host said Jesus was not about proselytation.
Oh my!
That Jesus came to see people and meet them where they are and love them where they were, and that's.
People say this all the time.
And I was walking my dog and I am yelling into the air like it's wintertime. There's no one around. Just like what? And I'm quoting scripture in the air. That. Red letter Christian love only thing.
Yeah.
It's an untenable position in a lot of ways because Jesus is. It's why they kill him.
It is.
They didn't kill him because he said be nice to people.
Nope.
They killed him because he said I am the one true God.
Yeah, that's right.
Like I am. I mean, before Abraham, I am. He's what he said. He pushed the world, and they said you are a heretic and a liar, and they killed him.
That's right. Yeah.
So those people that say that Jesus is not exclusive, that he didn't say controversial things. Okay, I'm being a little, I don't want to be mean to this group, but their overreaction to the meanness of the church is to water down Jesus as well. They're not loving Jesus, they're loving the current cultural moment and fitting Christ into our current cultural values.
That's
and
a
listen,
good way to say that,
the
man.
culture
That's
is
really good.
always
Yeah.
changing. It always has new things it loves. If you follow the culture, who knows where you'll be in 5 years? Because it won't be here.
No.
It's
yeah.
always going somewhere new
Well,
and silly.
if you do that, and people have done this forever. Again, since the time of Jesus, since the time of the New Testament, Paul's day. If you do that, then 60 or less years ago, Jesus was a racist. Then he's on your side against interracial marriage. He's on your side against different types of culture and skin color and these kind of things. And they believe that God was on their side. So that's fitting him in that way too. I mean, there were people in Nazi Germany that claimed to be disciples of the Lord that believed that they were doing right, and the Jews were evil, and they crucified Jesus anyway. And these are you can fit him into anything and make him even the version of the most evil monster. And so you can't. That's not who he is.
So to our Deconstruction Brothers, I say, you're not giving Jesus a fair hearing, because he told his followers to do what we're doing. I'd also say the accusations being brought against the work we're doing. How could you? Who the crap are you to go tell someone they're wrong? When you say that to somebody, you are saying your worldview is wrong.
You're doing the same thing.
And mine is right. You should abide by mine.
Yeah.
You are positing a philosophy of how you should live and saying, you're wrong, do things my way. Like, your argument is, like, inherently inconsistent.
Yeah.
You're saying, I can't do what you're doing to me right now.
I agree. No, I agree.
So
here's the thing. So you said it. It is undeniable. It is, if you're being intellectually honest, it is impossible. You don't have to like Jesus. You don't have to believe in Jesus. You don't have to believe in the Word of God. You can say we believe in Santa. You can come at us in every way. But if we say we're followers of Jesus and you see what Jesus said, to be obedient to him, we must go. We must tell he's the door. He's the way. He's the life. He's the narrow gate. He's the rock. Everything else is the sand. It's all there. So you can understand, if you see what he said, why we're doing what we're doing. You don't have to like it or believe in him, but don't tell me he said something different, because he did not say something different.
Even if you only read the Gospels, what we're doing is completely in line with all of that.
100%.
So
that's why
they say, is it arrogant? It's not arrogant, it's obedient.
Mm-hmm. I agreed, yeah. Yeah, it is.
Next, should Christians go? There are some who will say, I've heard that, when I came to India 15, 14 years ago, people say to me, you're going to India, there's people starving in America. Mm-hmm. There are homeless people in Pontiac.
That's true.
Why are you spending money to go to help these people when our own people are hurting? Or another turn on it, there's a famous missionary guy who said, Americans should stop being missionaries because it costs too much for an American to go overseas. For us to come here, plane tickets,
it's a lot.
baggage.
It's a lot.
We all took vacation time. I mean, a lot of things that happened to bring us to this place.
It is a lot.
I said, don't invest that. Instead, just give the money to a national believer. Give it to an Indian national or a Mexican national. It'll be much more bang for the buck.
Okay.
So they'd say, you shouldn't go because it's financially not a great investment. So people say this. So they would say nationals, never missionaries. I believed that for a long time. I read this book.
You did?
I read a book by K.P. Yohanan, Road to Reality, and it's a very convincing read. He's an Indian guy. He's coming strong. And it wasn't until my wife said to me, she's like, why don't you just ask the Indians what they want? Like, this guy, this smart college guy saying, D, I know everything. It's like, ask the people that we know. And so I called and said, listen, I can give you money and resource you from afar, and I will do that until I die. Or would you ever want maybe me and Angie to come out there and walk with you for a season and maybe serve together? Like, and it would be, if we did so, it would cost a lot of money to do.
Yeah, right.
You'd have more if we didn't come.
Yeah.
And he's like, brother, please come. Like, and we talked more about it. So I'm like, is this really being polite? Is he being...
Yeah.
It was we need, like, help. Like, because we're in the middle of a village.
Yeah.
Sometimes in America, we have access to more education than available here in the ground in India.
Look, I mean, when people say that, they often are only thinking through a financial lens, too. To go and to support this, anybody, a church down the road in our own community, anybody, people like, well, when they criticize that, they will never say they have enough support around them, or they have enough discipleship material, or they have enough Bibles, or they have enough, investment of explanation of sound doctrine, or clarity of the gospel. They don't say like, well, they got all that. What they're saying is, they need your money, send them your money. They will never criticize the fact that we want to go and help, we want to go and love, we want to go and encourage, that people in the world are suffering hardship. They're suffering loneliness. They're suffering persecution, like real persecution, and they need to be encouraged in the faith. They need to be reminded of the things which are true. They need to be encouraged in who their Lord is, someone to come and carry weight while they rest and be encouraged and see the power of the gospel work through the church coming together around the world. So we're coming for that reason too, and that's why he said to go. It's not just we're coming to be here and spending a bunch of money to do it. Like, I don't think, and when people criticize, it's always, I've never heard anyone criticize anything else. They always go, well,
always money.
That sounds expensive. It is, and you should give money to make it happen.
And here's the reality.
Because,
Here's also the reality. Before me and Angie moved here, no one in our world gave a rip about the untouchables of India. Because the world is, there's so much bad things. What do I care about?
What are the untouchables of India? You're using...
Okay. There's a thing called a caste system here.
Mm-hmm.
So here's, I don't want to get too much into it, but...
No, just run it down.
Religious ideas, worldviews and philosophies have consequences.
Yeah.
What you believe plays out into reality. Mm-hmm. And there's a thing here called karma. Mm-hmm. If I do good, I get good. If I do bad, I get bad. And that bleeds over into death, into a thing called reincarnation. Yeah. So if I am born the child of a rich man, that must mean I was good in my past life.
You deserved a better life.
I deserve to be born the son of a rich man. Yeah. If I'm born a son of a poor man, that must mean I was bad. I was a terrible person in my past life. This is my punishment. The gods have deemed fit to punish me in this way.
Yeah, right.
And so if that's true, the poor should not be treated with mercy and compassion. We have to let them suffer the consequences of their actions. Right. And their only hope is to abide by their dharma, which is their position in society. They must, kiss our feet and serve the high caste. And when they die, I hope they can move the ladder a little bit, okay? Yeah. This has been used to control India for millennia. Mm-hmm. You have these gigantic groups of people. The untouchables are, so we have the Sudra as the lowest caste. Used to be like 500 million people.
Okay.
You have the animals underneath the Sudra. Underneath the animals, you have the untouchables.
Wow.
Lower than the animals.
Wow.
Okay? And that used to be 300 million. This is just 10 years old, and the numbers are. Because India's grown so much since then. But when the number used to be 1 billion people, 800 million were the two lowest.
That's crazy, man.
So that means at the top, there's only a few people up there. You have a servant class and a slave class. Okay? The tenets of Hinduism make that slave caste stay slaves. Mm-hmm. Even the parents reinforce it to children. We are being punished by the gods. We deserve this. We deserve to be sick. We deserve to be poor. We deserve to be beaten. We deserve to be denied access to the temple and to hospitals. This is what we deserve.
Have the worst jobs. You have the lowest level jobs.
We deserve this. Yeah. Take it, smile and nod, and maybe next time we'll move up. Mm-hmm. This is the reality that Hinduism has brought, because ideas have consequences. And this idea has wrought a world of horrific injustice. Mm-hmm.
So going back to the first question, just to point this out, why would we come and preach the gospel? Because also Jesus came to set the captive free. And
dang straight.
Right. And we believe this is a demonic captivity.
Dude, we tell people,
so
listen,
forget that. Forget the critics.
Hated by the gods.
Nah.
You are loved by the one true God who loved you enough to send his only begotten Son to die that you may live.
Yes.
This is hope in this life.
I'm happy to say it, and the open goal is to smash it with the gospel. That is the open goal.
And when we preach, we do not preach against. Like I'm talking.
No, we don't condescend, and we don't get.
I will never say a bad word about Hinduism from a pulpit. I talk about the truthfulness of Jesus,
which does conflict though, without ever having to say anything directly. Like you say, "Hey, you are equal before the Lord. It doesn't matter. God came to die for you. He loves you." And people are like, "Huh?"
Yes, I can talk more about I'm for than against, and it's still powerful. Mm-hmm. And India be politically careful, because we are in a country that is not very friendly to Christians right now.
And we're not saying that because we fear for our own safety. It's we don't want to get our partners when we leave.
Right. Because this is a true partnership. We are not, people will say things like colonialism, colonizers. And I got to not get mad, because I want to be.
Yeah, I understand.
Reacting to stupidity with stupidity is not good. It's so fun. but it doesn't help anything. Here's the thing. Call me a colonizer. One, the people who said to me, okay, that's me. Never mind. I'll just say one thing then. Dude, I just want to go.
It's going really well.
I want to go to war. I got to hold it all back. Okay.
It's good.
We take our lead from the Indian leaders here. They tell us where, they tell us what, they tell us when, they tell us how.
The Christian leaders that were
Christian leaders in India.
Yep.
Because this is their work, and when we leave, they're still here.
Yep.
What we're doing is going to help them in their endeavors. We didn't say we want to do these cool things that we're good at. We said, how can we come alongside? Mm-hmm. And so I had to tell the team when we came, prepare to be kidnapped. Like, they'll tell us where we're going, when we're going, when we're coming home. We have no control.
It's a term of affection, though. It's not like people are going to be like, huh?
No,
it's because you're on their schedule and you don't know what's going on.
You don't know.
It could last forever.
We're out in the village. We never know when
come
we're
back
home.
at midnight. Like, all right.
Come back at midnight and they give you dinner and you got to eat it. It's just crazy.
Yeah.
It is a true partnership born, and we'll talk about this more next time, born of gospel unity across cultures.
Yeah.
But, so should Christians go? I think the answer is heck to the yes. Like, we should go.
Well, we have to, or we're not obedient
we have
to the Lord.
to.
Fundamentally, we're not obedient to the Lord. But also, when you were talking earlier, why should we invest the money and the resource, the travel, away from our family, away from our responsibilities, all the things. And yes, that's a cost. It's hard. But
I almost,
here's the thing, though. It's not just, they're saying like, well, there are Christians there, invest in them and they got it. Yes, but also we're also coming to reach the unreached. We're not just here for that. He said, go and preach the gospel to all creation. Paul said, I want to go where there hasn't been a foundation already there. And so we want to blaze into places where they, in some cases, have never heard the name of Jesus. We have the resources to do that in partnership with the Indian church elsewhere. So we go do that. And I think that's why the Lord put the church together around the world, because where some are weak, some are strong. Where others are weak, the others are strong. And so when we do it together, you have every tribe, every tongue, every nation, all proclaiming the King of Kings. And that's how the church works. That's how the Lord answers prayer for one from someone else around the world, and he puts it together. And what's he say? On earth as it is in heaven. And so here we are. And I think that's why, and I believe it, and I feel disobedient. I feel a fraud to preach the sacrifice of our lives to a comfortable society in a first world America and not put my life on the altar and say, I'll do it. I'll do it if you open. I'm not going to force it. I'm not going to act it. But if God opens a door and somebody says, I'm here in this place and you're over there, would you please come? We think a partnership for the gospel would be valuable. I'm coming, or else I'm a liar. I'm a performer, and I don't want to be that.
So we'll say, if you're the Rock Church, continue to give faithfully, and when teams maybe go,
yes,
pray about your involvement.
Yeah, and you're all a part of it. I mean, people that have made this possible, man, there are incredible things happening, and you have a fingerprint in that for the kingdom. It's amazing.
Jesus said in Acts 1:8, he said, be my witnesses in Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and to the earth.
Yeah.
I want to say this as we close. There was a time in church world where churches were loved the end of the earth stuff and did nothing for their neighbors.
Okay, this is important to note.
I just want to say, the going, if you don't go where you live.
Yes.
Don't come out here.
Yes. No, right.
You have this ability where you live to bring Jesus to your workplaces, your families, your friends, your sphere of influence.
Yeah.
You do that in your life, the spheres around your life, the areas near where you live.
Yep. And yes, the homeless there too. You mentioned earlier.
Heck,
I agree. Yes, we should be there.
It's not either or, it's both.
Yes.
Yes. I'm a pastor in Flint. Homeless, addict, jailed.
Yes.
Sex trade. Yes. We serve all of them.
100%.
And India.
Yep, I agree.
It's not either or. It's here and there.
Yeah.
Because it all needs Jesus.
Yep.
So, should Christians go, we say, amen.
Yeah.
Come, Lord, quickly. So that's the Encore. We'll see you
In part two.
We'll see you in part 2 next week.